Hello, everyone. I wanted to hop on real quick and give some quick video feedback to everyone that's been submitting so far. There's a few submissions floating around, so I just wanted to hop on real quick and give my feedback on a few things. Also, wanted to let everyone know, make sure you're checking out the monthly lighting challenge in the lighting community page. I posted some updates on some references for how you want the set to look. Those are from the modeler, so take a look at those. So as you're building your set, make sure that you're just because like there's some transparency maps on things. We just want to make sure you have all the bells and whistles there. And as you guys are working on it, please definitely post them to this lighting student pages. I don't always check, or I'm not as active on the community page just because I want to focus in on you guys. You guys are our students. You're our, you know, you're the heart and soul of TDU. So I want to make sure to give you daily feedback. So make sure you post it here, and I will definitely get you all feedback as you go. Okay, so we've got Alessandro's doing this really cool, a few shots, very small animated short, along with Abdurrahman. So make sure you click that link up there, check that out. I'll come back with some notes and some stuff to talk about there. Ubaid is working on the lighting for animated short film, so that's really cool. And then we've got Kleber, who's who's working with the Joker and is about to start lighting. And then we got Sophie has just updated. Sophia, sorry, has just updated with a materials link. Now, normally Jasmine handles the materials and shaders, so I'm going to let her comment fully on it. But the one thing that I'll just throw in my 2 cents because we're here is that I think the skin is looking a little bit grayed out. Even in these examples, there's a little bit of extra like underlying rosiness, warmth to the skin tones, especially on this character here. It's similar in their base value. I just think that you need to feel a little bit more of the subsurface, like blood under the surface of the skin type of a feeling. And I'll let Jasmine comment on the rest of it. But it's all looking really great. Your reference is beautiful. I love the color of the skirt and the scarf. I think and the color of the boots. I think you're right on track with the overall color scheme. I just think there's some minor variations within the shader itself. But like I said, I'll let Jasmine get into the details there. Kleber, for your Joker, I think I'm really excited to see this guy lit up. Really cool job doing some variations on the teeth. I think that'll look really good. The one thing, like I said, was just getting it more so. I mean, you're on the path there, but just getting it like whenever you're roughing something up, whenever you're working to make something grungier or dirtier, you want to think about how it's actually being used, how it's being handled. Like if it's an object, how it's like where the fingerprint's going to be, where the wear down mark's going to be. If it's a set of stairs, like where do people step a lot? Where's stuff going to be worn down? Or like a railing, like where are people actually grabbing? For teeth, it's like where it's a difference between. So right now there's like the blood on it, and since teeth don't bleed, it would be indicated that it would be something that you're biting. And when you're biting something, it's kind of like when you're chewing bloody things, you're kind of chewing it. I guess it's back here and goes up, but I always think of food. It's food, right? So it's just getting stuck between the teeth. So like in between the teeth, and not so much like you don't get stuff on the surface of your teeth because it kind of wipes away. Now, granted, he is smiling very big in this one, so maybe he just is like that all the time, and his teeth don't wipe it away. But just something to be aware of if you're looking at it and you're like, this doesn't quite feel right. Just always go back to like putting the blood in and around like by the intersection points where things, like I said, get stuck in the teeth and where they kind of get jammed up. All the areas that your dentist will scrape at when you go into the. But this is looking. Hey everyone, sorry about that. Back online now. Let me just hop into. Now I want to talk a little bit about Ubaid's and Alessandro's. Let's get this. There we go. And let's see, let's get Ubaid's up here. Okay. So we have the scene here. And now the one thing that we're really going to, that you're going to be fighting with that I really would like for you to look into is the key position. So it feels like it's directly behind the camera here. And the biggest problem that we're going to run into is that it's just flattening out a lot of things. The biggest thing I want to look at is I want to see shaping on her. I want to see light and dark values going across her body. So she's lighter on one side, darker on the other to kind of indicate the key direction. And then I want to feel variation between the boots and the shirt. So they're a little too matchy right now. I just want to see a little bit more variation on that. But the biggest one is the shaping. So same thing across the tree. Like this part of the tree and this part of the tree look very similar in terms of values, and I want to see that fall off. And it's going to be extra difficult on the house itself because it is a flat surface. But we want to see, there's some vertical variation you had before. We want to see some variation. It looks like, judging by the shadow, that the light's coming in from like this direction. So let's go ahead and make this part of her brighter and then have this part of her feel like the shadow. And same deal here with the trees. Make sure this is the key section and then the fade off happens as we go that way. And I think that'll really, really help it out. Because right now, again, you don't want things to feel like they're too even and too flat. You did a really good job filling or getting the saturation color right on the tree there. And then I think you should also add in a little bit of aerial perspective and depth of field. Like the saturation on this tree back here is very high. And I think I think we can step back the saturation as we go back into space to get that feeling of depth a little bit. And then watch out for the underside of that flower. It's getting very dark, so make sure you're filling that in. So it's a nice, bright, translucent-y, glowy flower thing. And then you want to get a little bit of light wrap here on the roof and everything. Now, okay, so for this collaboration project, love it. Think it's going really well. Think it's going in the right direction. Love the most recent changes that you just added to it. Couple things to watch out for. And this is what I was talking about in terms of, because I think that this is really in a good spot. So I would take this rig, transition into the other two shots that you're facing each character individually, and make sure it lines up. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like you said, you can definitely change it on a per shot basis, but you don't want any glaring problems. You don't want like this light, like when you start to see it from other shots, you're like, oh no, that's a problem. So I should probably adjust it there. Or if you get into the other shots, you'd be like, oh man, it would be really cool if there was like a patch of light back here. And then you can kind of start to play with them together, because it does not, as I've said this before, it does not matter how good an individual shot looks. It only matters how they work well together. A couple quick fire notes. Love the shaping back here. These three objects on this desk are a little bit bright. You want to watch out. There's like a little hot spot here on his chest. You just want to watch out for that as you start to animate. And then Abdurrahman, it looks like he's penetrating the chair here. Just something to be aware of. You can, if it was less than that, you could potentially fix that in the comp, but it's pretty deep in there. So something you guys just maybe want to look into. And it would just be as simple as lowering the seat of the chair maybe or something, but it looks like he's pretty in there. So just something to be aware of there. Other than that, I think you all are looking great. I think it's off to a good start. You're much better here with the fill value on the character, but that's always going to be something that's going to be a struggle with the little guys, is just finding shaping on them. So I'm sorry again for getting cut off. If you all have any questions at all, fire them at me. Add them in the comments, post them here. I'll check one more time later on today in this sub, and we'll go from there. All right, guys, keep going, keep lighting, keep being amazing. All right, happy lighting, everybody.